I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and move over Samsung Galaxy Note 2 because you've got a new contender in the phablet marketplace. It's the LG Optimus G Pro, coming very soon to AT&T, and even though this is the international version, it's got a lot of similarities. Can it compete, maybe even knock the Galaxy Note 2 off of its throne? Let's go find out in a full PhoneDog video review. It's the LG Optimus G Pro, and it's a contender in the tablet phone space finally against the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. This comes out on May 10th on AT&T for $199, and it brings some nice specifications to the table, including a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 600 CPU, a 5.5-inch HD display, 1080 by 1920 pixels here, so a full HD display, a 13 megapixel camera, a 3140 milliamp hour battery, 4G LTE connectivity when it launches on AT&T, though I should point out this is the international model, but very similar in terms of design and usability across the board. Before we get too far into the review, I want to pull it back just a little bit and thank a bunch of different people. First of all, GSM Nation. Special thanks to them for hooking us up with a review unit and getting it over to us as fast as they did. When you get a chance, head over to gsm.nation.com. Again, gsmnation.com. Take a look at their website. If you're looking for an unlocked device like maybe the Optimus G Pro or Galaxy S4 or an HTC One, head over there and have a look. They've got some competitive pricing and a lot to offer at gsmnation.com. And I also want to thank our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the Optimus G Pro when it comes in on AT&T, or Galaxy S4 and the HTC Ones, all those different good things they provide us for use in our giveaway game on the site. We just give phones to you for free. We literally take them from Best Buy and give them to you for free for use in our One Paw Bandit game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working, whether it's this device or the Galaxy S4 or the HTC One, you'll walk out working. They'll get your email, your contacts, your web set up, and when you walk out the door, you got everything good to go. It also has Android 4.1 with LG's user interface. Now juxtapose this against last year's models. The Galaxy Note 2 came out last year, and right around the time the Note 2 was coming out, we saw the LG Revolution hit Verizon. Now that thing had been out for a while. It had been announced at Mobile World Congress earlier in the year in Barcelona, shown off in February, and then it finally hit Verizon, and people were thinking to themselves, at least I hope people were thinking to themselves, why would I buy this when I can buy the Note 2 and the specifications will be so much better? We're seeing that here as well, but on the flip side a little bit. We're seeing with the LG Optimus G Pro some great specifications all around. It's got a full 1080p HD display. The Note 2 only has a 720p HD display, around a 720p HD display. 13 megapixel camera versus 8 megapixel camera, 3140 milliamp hour battery versus 3000 milliamp hour battery. The one thing the Note 2 has going for it is the availability on multiple carriers. The LG Optimus G Pro in a specifications race wins in a lot of different areas, and the price point is good on AT&T. Let's take a look at LG's newest tablet phone. Now, like I said, this is the international version. We'll start with hardware, we'll move into software, and then in part 2 we'll talk about some of the speed tests, the camera, and we'll wrap it up. Now, you're going to notice this little flimsy thing I'm pulling out. This is actually an antenna that's available on the Korean version, which is the international version that I have. I should point out is the Korean version. But you can see how flimsy that is, and I find that particularly interesting. I would have loved to have seen an S Pen right there as opposed to an antenna, but you know what, it is what it is, and that's one thing that I miss about the Galaxy Note 2. So hardware-wise, you got a design, I should say, that looks pretty similar to the Note 2. Kind of a plastic look and feel with that physical button down at the bottom. You've got your back button, your menu button down here, and you've got on your top side 3.5mm headphone jack, shortcut button here, volume rocker here, power button here, and then your micro USB charging port down at the bottom. Now this thing has a wealth of cool features, not to mention great hardware features, but just some cool software features that I've found in working with this device for a little bit. A couple things I'll point out. One, love the fact that the physical button has an LED around it where it'll light up. When you're charging the device, it lights up red while it's charging. When you get a phone call, you can set it to where it lights up when you get a phone call or a message. Pretty cool little feature. I like that they've integrated it down there. But this is really a good looking device all around, and yes, it's a big phone, but it fits pretty well in the hand. The travel's pretty decent, as you can see right here. Even my big hands can make it all the way across, and I can hold it in my hand much like I can the Note 2. Now we'll have a separate dogfight for both of these devices, so stay tuned for that, but you can kind of see the size difference here. The Note 2 is just a little bit thicker, or I shouldn't say thicker, a little bit longer, I should say, as opposed to the Optimus G Pro. Actually, the Optimus G Pro, just doing a quick comparison here on camera, it looks a little bit longer, but this one is a little bit wider, as you can see, than the Optimus G Pro. But really a nice device all around. Like the fact that it comes with Android 4.1.2 out of the box, or was updated, I should say, a few minutes ago to Android 4.1.2. Now out of the box, this is an international version, so no AT&T stuff. out of the gate here, but I've got my folders and of course some stuff that comes with the SK Telecom version, and I won't spend too much time on that because obviously AT&T is going to pre-install stuff on this device, as we saw in Phone Dog's hands-on with the LG Optimus G Pro. What you do get though, the typical LG stuff, and I'll talk about personalization, which brings me right into the software functionalities of this device. As you can see here, you've got LG's custom user interface running atop Android 4.1.2, and it's very similar to what we've seen before from LG. No real surprises here. It looks a lot like some of the LG devices that are on Verizon Wireless, but just take a look as I scroll through here how quickly this device is all around. That Snapdragon 600 processor performs incredibly well. It's a quad-core 1.7 gigahertz processor, and you can see that my current service provider is AT&T. For whatever reason, it keeps it up here and does not move it. It doesn't allow me to move it on the SK Telecom version. But running 3G right now on AT&T, then I've got my notification bar here as well. So typical LG look and feel. You get your shortcuts up top, and much like with previous LG devices, you can move back and forth over here and then move stuff like, let's say I use accounts and sync on a regular basis. I can bring it up here to the top near airplane mode and customize my area so I can go back here and see airplane and sync are side by side. Likewise, I can get rid of stuff as I see fit and make this device my own from a customization standpoint. For me, customization is very important, and I think for a lot of consumers it is as well. You see in addition here though, Q-Slide applications, and we'll talk about this a little bit more towards the end of part 1, but Q-Slide apps, videos, TV, internet, this device is very similar in a lot of ways to the Note 2 in the fact that it's intended to be a content creation device and a device for consumption of media, be it videos, be it music, be it creations of your own. So let's say I'm in messaging, for example, and right now I have my shortcut button configured, as you see, to my Q memo area. So I can get rid of this if I want to, this drawing if I see fit, overlay mode. Let me go ahead and return, actually, tell you what I'll do. I'll go ahead and go back, and I see I've got my overlay here, as you can see. So I can put this really ugly design in overlay mode if I want to, and continue to play around with it. And I've got the eraser as well. So I can come down here, signature off. Let's go ahead and save it to my notebook. It's a beautiful drawing. Save it to my notebook, but then I can take a picture right here as well and change it to the wallpaper. Hi there. So not quite as functional as the S Pen functionality on the Note 2. I don't think it's as fleshed out as the Note 2 and some of the software that comes with it in the S Pen, but still a nice feature. But again, if you're somebody that's buying in, or you're walking into an AT&T store and you're thinking, I want something that I can take notes on, I want something with great functionality with a pen, the Note 2 is clearly more developed there. I mean, you use this, and we'll talk about this more in the dogfight, but this is great for drawing on the screen from time to time, occasionally. You want to show something to your friend, you can point to it, the internet, for example, show them the internet, and you can send that off to your friends, but otherwise, it's not really that functional on a day-to-day basis, with the exception of taking some basic notes so you can get rid of your stuff up top, which is kind of nice. So you got that functionality, but you got quite a bit of personalization here as well. And I'll show you by going into settings. You've got a dedicated home screen and lock screen area. So I can go into home screen, for example. I can change my theme, my swipe effect, and this is something I think is pretty cool. I can change the swipe effect from breeze to accordion, and where you see this is in the lock screen, or in the home screen rather. You see the accordion type animation there as I scroll. Wah, 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 wah. I was trying to make accordion noises, but those are not my best accordion noises. So you've got that, of course, brightness, screen timeout, font differences. Also, this device has smart screen, which is much like keep screen on when the device detects your eyes looking at the screen, much like Smart Stay on the Samsung Galaxy devices. Smart video as well. You can pause the video while playing automatically. We've seen this before, very familiar, and I happen to really enjoy the toggles down here as well. So you can see these look like real light switches. So just pointing out kind of those fun things about this device. Front touch key lights, and then the home button LED, like I said, it can do a missed event like a text message or an email or a missed call, it'll light up, an incoming call to light up. I can do alarm and calendar, and then I have it set right now for downloaded apps and battery charging as well. So you can customize that. Quick cover as well, and then aspect ratio correction, motion sensor. So quite a bit of an opportunity here between that, the wallpapers, and then one of my personal favorite things where I can press and hold an application and I can change the icon. So for contacts, for example, I want this icon instead. You can change it for internet. I want a different icon, I want a different globe, or maybe I just want something that says I for internet. I can customize it, make it my own, or I can do a customized picture in most cases as well, which I think is pretty cool. But a very, very fast device all around. Like those customization options, I think they'll resonate well with US buyers as well that are deciding between an iPhone or a Galaxy S device or Galaxy Note device. It'll really make the difference with that level of personalization, and this is really a nice device all around. It feels good in the hand, and then the software is finally up to par with TouchWiz, HTC Sense 5, Motorola's user interface, and stock Android in my book, as opposed to older versions of LG's user interface. Stay tuned for part 2. We'll pick up where we left off with the customization. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the Q functionality of this device and the software that brings up the features to par with the Galaxy Note 2 in a lot of ways. We'll do that, camera testing, and speed tests. So stay tuned for part 2 of the full video review.